sounds like you're doing good. So that's awesome.
I'm trying. Hey, y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom, and we are live with Takisha Bromell, our industry expert in all things business strategy. Today, we're going to be talking about, I just really want to learn about Takisha's journey and learn about any tips that she can give us. I tell folks that I really only give advice on things that I've been through myself, and I think we've all been through so much as business owners and have so many stories we can tell. And so I want to hear those stories, Keisha, things that
Oh my
you've
gosh.
learned along the way that you can share with our audience that can give them some tips on how do they get in a position to actually grow their business and scale it, make more money, as well as grow their team. So let's
You
jump
want to
on
live in
in.
me?
Yeah, I'm leaving you. Well, tell me, like I know that you learned a lot just even over the last few years and the things that you need to do in order to grow your team. One thing that I hear a lot of people are worried about, like hiring folks and that impacting their bottom line. So
Mhm.
I want to hear from you your thoughts on that and how you got to the point where you were not scared to hire other people and give things away so that you can actually grow and scale.
You know what? That was really difficult for me because, but okay, right before I started my business, someone gave me a book. Gosh, what is the name of that book? The book was talking about. The book was the premise was someone was she was a pie maker, and
Mhm,
she was also so she was doing bakery type stuff. She
mhm,
also was building her business and everything, and she was exhausted. As she was exhausted and tired about living her life and all of that kind of stuff, there was this person, like a strategic planner, that came into her life, and he started to kind of like explain to her like her business and everything, and how she needed to work on her business and not in her business.
mhm,
So I got that book really early, at the even before I actually incorporated the business and started the business. And that was instrumental because as I read that book, I realized that I needed to start at least thinking about the concept of hiring outside of myself.
mhm.
So I didn't do it right away though. I was fearful and scared, not sure that I had enough money. I had jumped out into business and entrepreneurship. I didn't have anything to stand on. And so with me not having a full-time job and doing that full time, I was like, I'm going to ride this I'm not hiring anyone.
Right. And so that's the thing. I think a lot of people like are in that space where they're like, nah, I need to keep all this money in the house,
Doing
Like,
this in the house. It's like you're doing this, and it is in the very beginning. It is famine, and you're not sure, and you don't really have all the things. You're not fully equipped when you first start. You really aren't. Now, I don't know anybody that can tell me that they first started their business and they incorporated that they were fully equipped to handle all of the different things that were going to come up to you as you are a business owner. You're just not equipped. And so I wasn't, you think you're equipped now. When you first start, you're like, oh, I got
yeah.
this, I got that. People are going to come to me. My family's going to respond. My friends are going to respond. The people, my network is going to respond. And then you get out there and you realize that you're actually on your own. No one is
Mhm.
going to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're doing the work. No one is going to be out there. Your family won't even buy from you. They they will buy from someone else before they buy from you. The friends and the network people, the people that cheered you on, Danielle, and said you
Mhm.
should quit your 9 to 5 and go and do this, won't even give you it. Okay, they give
Mhm.
you a contract. So you are really by yourself for a moment. And that book helped me understand that at some point, that wasn't even in my idea of when I first started that I'm going to have, I had a solopreneur mindset that I was going to
Mhm.
go into this business that I wasn't thinking about enlarging it past myself. I wasn't thinking about any of those things. It was a solopreneur mindset. And so at but I read that book and knew that at some point I was going to have to take a jump and I leave a
Yeah,
whatever.
it's very scary. No matter how successful you are, even when you've operated as a solopreneur or a very, very small team or used contractors, even taking that jump to like W-2 employees is scary. Like it is a very, very scary place. And a lot of it is around that mindset. That's really what I gathered from
Mhm,
what you said is that we hear all the time, work on your business, not in your
mhm,
business.
mhm.
And I'm asked all the time, I was asked last week, what do Black business owners really need to be able to scale? And my first thing was the mindset has
Mm.
to change, because if you don't think that it's possible, you won't go after it, and so
You
you
will
first
think
have to
yes.
know that,
Yes.
yeah, that I can be an
Mhm.
employer firm and have employees, which there's such a small percentage of Black owned businesses that have gotten in a position, very, very small percentage, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but of Black owned businesses that are employer firms employing someone outside
Yes.
of themselves. And I want to see us be able to do more of that, but we have to first be able to see it, envision it, know that it's possible, and then have a strategy on how do I get my money back? Because that's my thing. I don't mind spending money to get help, but I also need to know that if I'm spending money, I'm gonna get that money. Like that money is gonna pay. They're gonna pay for themselves.
Okay. So
So
now let
what
me
is?
tell you,
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like,
I'm
what are
glad
your
you say
thoughts
that
on that?
because okay, so I have to then share this, which we're talking about right now. I have to share this with other entrepreneurs. Like I have to go out and share this, what I call this gospel about virtual assistant work and everything. So I'm always talking about this one thing. Okay, it's okay. Let's say how much money you make. Let's say you're making $100 per hour. If you're making $100 per hour, you would never hire an administrative assistant and pay them $100 per hour.
Exactly.
So you're saving money by just having someone else do it so that you can take time to actually connect with Daniel. I've been seeing you out there in the streets, girl, and I absolutely love it. You're connecting with organizations and things like that. You're putting yourself out there. And if you were, I'm telling you, if you didn't have multiple VAs and
Mhm.
then be strategic with what you're actually giving those VAs and everything, and then also your executive assistant network that you're using with us, if you
Mhm.
didn't do that, you couldn't be out there in Atlanta meeting and
I
talking
could
to
not.
people and connecting with people and all that kind of stuff. You couldn't do it. You know, when I first started and it was just me, I read that book. I read, it's called The E Myth. And I had read some
Mhm.
of that book beforehand.
Mhm.
And then I realized at some point I was going to have to bring someone, but I couldn't go out there and bring in the contracts and then also do the work. It was exhausting, and then do the work. So my first person I brought on was an assistant that I actually she was an intern, and there was no I didn't pay her anything at first. She was an
Mhm.
intern, and that's what I needed at that time. And then we escalated to me then paying her. And
Mhm.
then it was like, okay, what's needed? And then every time I brought on a new team member, I got heartburn. Like I was like, oh my goodness, is this really happening? My faith had to step up and say, I believe that I can go and sell this, but I'm going to have a team of people behind me to do it. And
Yep.
at some point, I got to the point where, I started to then have to figure out like how I was going to handle the process of bringing more people on and really shoring up my price at the time to make sure I could handle the new people that were coming. But it really, honestly, the first part of it wasn't. But I think that I would tell anyone to go and get the book E Myth if you're
Yeah.
thinking about that you want to there. If you're starting a business, go and get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you've already in business, and
Mm-hmm.
you really need to kind of understand like how long you're prolonging you're prolonging the advancement of your business if you don't include other people in the process.
And I tell you, I love that. Even as you think about partnerships, it you really have to think about it from a perspective of we can do more together with bringing on teammates, going into partnerships, all of those things. If I can get 50% of 10 things that are going on,
Mhm.
I'd rather have 50% of that than 100% of the one
Yeah.
thing that I can do by myself. And so again, just that mindset shift. And so I'm gonna make sure that when we have Erica, our entrepreneurs therapist, is coming to talk to me, I believe Friday, we're gonna talk more about that. But for folks that are like, I need to ease into this thing, like
Mhm.
I know I need some help. First of all, I need help with figuring out my strategy for including someone else on the team, how I can maximize the impact of having that person. But I'm ready to consider this. How can they reach out to you and work with you to be able to do that?
Okay, so girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com. I do give a 30-minute consultation where I really go through, talk to you about your business, look at your business and see how it can help you, any advice I can give you. And some of the people out there in your land have reached out, and we've been able to kind
Yeah.
of like share some suggestions on how
Mhm.
to increase their business flow, how to help them in procedures and things like that. So that's been really good. But it's just reaching out, girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com, and actually, connecting with us. It is important though that when you're thinking about your business, that so I was talking to someone on the radio yesterday, Monday, and one of the things I talked about is like understanding your lane of where you're going. Like, what is your
Mhm.
in? We were talking about what is your end game, but what I
Mm.
was talking about is some people are going to be just a solopreneur, and that is absolutely fine.
It
Okay,
is.
they're
Yeah.
real estate agents, hairdressers, artists, people like that. That's who they're going to be. They're going to be solopreneurs. And then there's the people that are wanting to create
Really
a
scale
business
something.
and
Yeah.
scale something. So
Mhm.
knowing which lane you're in is absolutely important, because
I
if
love
you're
it.
wanting it to just be you, and that's fine, or you're not quite sure yet, but right now it's just you, your situation is going to be a little bit different than if you were a actual business that's going to move on into
Mhm.
growth and everything. But regardless to that, I would say that most people need to look at, and we talked about this last year, is about understanding like the level of connection and people that you need. Like you may need
Exactly.
that can take on some of the work and then add on to you. So that would be someone like if it's a partner, it could be that I know code, but I'm not a best graphic designer. So you're bringing
Exactly.
someone in that can
Can
you know code.
supplement and complement what you're bringing to the table. I
Yes.
love it.
So that's
Yeah.
exactly right. So that's your partner. You're going to bring them in. And then you have someone that may just be that is a high level executive assistant, someone that it can come in, and that's what we provide, is
Mhm.
that. And so that person could be someone that really helps you with just a whole host of things, but they're skilled. They have a skill set that can help you with a multitude of different things. I think that you also have a VA. A VA can just get up and go and do the thing
Yeah.
to happen. They can absolutely do those things. And then the
Yeah.
last one is just an intern.
Right. Right. And I think interns are a great option. You have to consider that you're bringing someone in the company that is going to probably move on to do something else
Mhm, mhm,
fairly quickly,
mhm.
as well. And so all the time it takes them on board and all that. Does it make sense for you? Does that make sense, or do you want a longer term solution? And
But
luckily
don't
we
but,
have
but don't get mad when you ask an intern to do something that an executive assistant should do. Like we talked
right.
about that too. Like
And to understand, on the same level, have the
Mhm.
same comprehension level and the same implementation level as someone who you would pay $30 an hour. I mean,
That's
it's
exactly right.
clearly you have to manage your expectations as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Great point. I love it. This was wonderful, Takisha.
Yes.
Great information as always. Again, girlfridaysbusinesssolutions.com. Takisha
Yes.
does free 30-minute consultations. If you're trying to figure out how do I get started with just bringing somebody on my team to help me out, I don't know if it's a executive assistant. I don't know if it's a VA. Know I need some help, and I got
Yes.
to figure out how do I find the right person. But I'm not only find the right person, but get them on board and have a strategy for how they
Mhm.
can actually help me grow. Takisha is your person. So reach out, Girl Friday Business Solutions. Thank you again,
Thank you,
Takisha, as
Danielle.
always. I'm
Yes.
so happy to have
I
you.
did.
And thanks so much for tuning in, everyone.